Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of the Hamann podcast. I'm Mitchell.
I'm Aaron.
And this is the place to go to for stuff that should be common sense, but it's not.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Because it's not, I guess. And we're here to spread the word.
Yeah. No, there's obviously a lot to say. I think a big thing that I ran into, or that I keep running into, because obviously working as kind of a trainer here, a lot of things that I see are people's researching abilities. It's, I don't know, there's a lot of things you want to take into account when you're just doing some research, you know what I mean? You want to just take a deeper dive into what you're looking into. You want to make sure that it's a credible source. Make sure that you click on multiple different articles so you can get a lot of different opinions and look at a lot of different sides of the argument so you can just be more well-rounded.
Yeah. I mean, most people type a question into Google, and whatever Google reads back to them is the answer to the question, and it's just a done deal at that point. That's just what they take as fact. There's no deep diving or anything like that. So
I think to even expand on this, like when you look into like certain articles and certain things that people read about. Like for example, I was reading an article, and I'll link it somewhere here. I was reading an article about the effects of cardiovascular disease and cancer in women, and it was talking about red meat. And imagine that. And in unprocessed red meat category, hot dogs was in that list. So that literally negated the entire credibility of the article just based on one fact alone.
I mean, yeah, look at the entire study when you're reading stuff like that.
And I think where this is going to go is because one thing I wanted to say on the last episode is kind of what we do, what we've been doing, and kind of how we feel this kind of helps us. I mean, and I think what we do is we eat very simplistic. It's very simple. I can read off the list with about 7 things: liver, steak, eggs, sausage, dates, honey, dark chocolate. There's obviously a couple different things in there we supplement with, and we'll get into that. But with red meat, for example, like what I just told you about how it has negative effects for cardiovascular disease and cancer in women. Like that whole article was based on unprocessed red meat, and then that was hot dogs. So we have to look a little deeper into some of these studies because we need to really understand that survey-based studies can be very inaccurate. Or correlation does not mean causation, if that makes any sense. We have to look a little deeper.
I can't get over how dark I look. It's kind of sad.
I'm working on this, okay? I'm working on trying to even out the skin tone. It's slightly embarrassing. So
it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, none of this is medical advice. This is just we're just sharing what we do. This is what we do. This is our experience.
I'm not your doctor.
The reason we're talking about doing your own research is because it's very important. Like I said, sharing our experience, and yeah. So far, it's been great for the last, 7 months?
Yeah.
Our diet has contained mostly red meat, as well as, other organs like liver.
Yeah.
And supplements that we take that contain other organs.
Right.
I feel like I've been thriving. Like my digestion's never been better, and I've always had digestion problems. When I worked with First Form, and no hate against them, they're an amazing company. I love Andy Frisella. He's one of the greatest guys that I've ever known. But I took their supplements for a long time, and when I would take the OptiGreens, which is just a bunch of grasses, and it's probiotics that are supposed to be good for your stomach. It's supposed to give you energy and make you feel good. I always felt bloated and extremely full, and to be honest with you, never felt good doing that. But when you cut out stuff like processed seed oils when you're cooking your meat, you feel full and not bloated and gross and overfull. Because I've noticed, sometimes when I go out to restaurants, I try to have them cook my meat without seed oils. Sometimes they do, and you know it's hard to not have them do that at a lot of places. But
Yeah.
I end up feeling like, you know, bloated, and that's why I think, in my experience, that's what I
Yeah,
found.
I mean, and honestly, I think just inflammation overall. I mean, I think that's something.
Yeah.
You and I particularly struggled with skateboarding. You know, from a very young age, doing some
Still.
pretty, yeah, right, and doing some pretty reckless stuff at that, hitting some pretty
why I'm
big
like-
staircases.
That's why I can't stop moving, because I'm always like cracking my
Yeah.
back or something. Like,
Yeah, no, and I think with that too, like, man, even getting into the body and training and seeing how people train, like it's crazy. Like I just want to share my experience because with issues like that too, like I find myself doing that a lot less often and finding I'm not in nearly as much pain. Like once I really break down what's happening here and how what we eat affects all this too. And I think that the huge elephant in the room with the red meat thing is cholesterol, because that's usually the number one thing that pops into people's heads. And hormones are made from a cholesterol backbone. So when you think about that just for 1 second, without cholesterol, we would really get sick, very sickly, and we would not be doing well.
well, with that being said, though, your body does create cholesterol.
Yes.
But excess cholesterol, it doesn't mean that it's bad.
Right.
When you have a high LDL, and
Which
you
is
know,
bad cholesterol.
the bad cholesterol,
Yeah.
yeah, it's mostly attributed to other factors.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I agree with that. Think about it happening naturally when you fast.
Yeah.
Right? Like just thinking about that alone. And the only reason they will ever say high LDL is a bad thing is typically when you have high LDL and when you are metabolically unhealthy. You know, this means obese, this means type 1 diabetes, whatever it may be. Like that's when that's somewhat maybe a little bit more on the dangerous side of things just because of what happens with LDL. But even at that, like that's not the concern if you are metabolically unhealthy. It needs to be movement. It needs to be just focusing on a better diet overall. I mean, because, you know, I would say Big Macs and a bunch of burritos and sandwiches from all these places where who knows where they get their food from.
Yeah, I mean, something that I thought about that really changed my perspective is the fact that your body is constantly regenerating cells, and I feel like it's kind of common sense that your body regenerates itself completely every 7 years. So
Right.
when your body's regenerating itself, it's using the food that you put into it to help that process. And if you're not putting good calories and like good wholesome, you know, well-raised meat into your body to regenerate it, then you're like your body's gonna be made up of Big Macs and processed meat.
And again, like you'd think that's common sense that when whatever the animal's being fed, if they're not being fed the proper nutrients, how are they going to feed you the proper nutrients that you need? Like it's so, you would think it's so simple. And again, like going back to like the good digestion thing, like our, you know, vital organs, right? Yeah, that's what they are. Vital, that's right. Well, wouldn't it make sense when you're having an issue with your liver to eat, you know, maybe a little bit of liver? I can sit here and talk your ear off about the different nutrients in it and how every single nutrient that's in it is often about where people's nutrient deficiencies are. And then every nutrient in it is about over 150% of your recommended daily value. And about, what was it, is it a half ounce or? Oh, I want to say it's like a half ounce or so.
Something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I mean, it's very, like, liver is very nutrient dense. So all organs are very nutrient dense.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that not that long ago, liver was served in school lunches.
Yeah, that's
And dude,
mind blowing.
You know, the school lunches when we were growing up, they taste great. Like, they taste good, but
Yeah,
it's garbage. You're literally eating like garbage.
yeah. It's
so
like
bad.
it's like having a really nice Ferrari with a terrible engine. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's a good thing to kind of touch on, because a lot of people think that, hey, I'm skinny, or I'm more on the like skinny side of things. I'm healthy. That's definitely not the case. It's a dangerous ideology to have. You want to, base it off of how you feel. Like, I think aesthetics are a healthy byproduct of being more healthy, but we don't overfixate.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have said it like that, but I would just say, like, listen to your body and, like, focus, like, not only have we changed the way that we eat and the way that we look at food over the last, like, half year of our lives, but we've also changed, at least, like I've focused a lot on getting sun. I get a lot of sun, and it's fantastic. I love it. Another thing about cholesterol is it helps you metabolize vitamin D that you get from the sun. I've been wearing barefoot shoes for almost 2 years now, which I think has attributed to a lot better movement in the joints of my feet. Like we talked about earlier, skateboarding. I mean, I've always had messed up ankles, knees, and hips, everything. That's definitely helped a lot. Just focusing on moving your body. You don't have to be going to the gym all the time. Like lifting heavy weight is very important, but especially for people who don't go to the gym very often, you can start doing anything. Like, go for walks. Like, walking is a very ancestral, natural thing to do. Walking and sprinting.
Yeah, no, I think
very good for you.
Yeah, no, and I think it's something as simple as that. And I think what we touched on a little bit a while ago was finding something that at the end of the day you enjoy. You know what I mean?
And can we just talk about real quick how much steak we just ate? I'm pretty sure that was a 1.5 pound steak. Yeah. We both shared it.
Yeah.
And then we walked to Walmart to get this ring light. And then, how is your stomach feeling? Like, I feel like I digested it so much better after we went for a walk, after we ate.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think,
granted, we hear homeless people screaming in the distance.
Yeah.
Some pretty messed up
stuff. It was pretty entertaining. I mean,
it is what it is.
A typical Monday night.
Not the best area, but that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say a typical Monday night here on 17th.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. No, I totally agree. I think it did help, and I think something small like that in any aspect, like when you're starting off, I think everyone has a long-term goal, and I think they want to try and accomplish it in a very, very short time frame. Just show up. Just be consistent.
It's a lifestyle. It's like you just said, find something you can stick to. Anybody can go for walks every day, and you can focus on just trying to get better food in your diet. We're not saying go eat all meat or it's just getting overall more nutrient dense whole foods in your diet, because there's
you'll find yourself not eating as much. That's for sure. You'll be way more satiated.
I mean, me personally, I eat mostly very high protein diet with a lot of fat and honestly a good amount of carbs right now. I mean, I play with my carbs a lot. If I don't do anything throughout the day, sometimes I eat less. But if I'm gonna go to the skate park, or if I'm gonna lift, or if I'm gonna go for a walk or something, sometimes I'll eat extra. I don't know.
Yeah,
just listen to your body. If you feel like you want some extra carbs, eat some extra carbs.
Right. And then also with the understanding that it's a fast-acting fuel source for your body, it's the first thing it's going to utilize in a situation where you're like, hey, I'm going to do more. Let me supply my body with more fuel to use. It's just I think what blows my mind, and it's because what we're talking about right now is so very, very, very simple. Yet there's so many fad diets, and there's so many crazy fitness industry ideologies that make seriously zero sense. It almost hurts my head a little bit. It's but other than that, that's really about the extent of what we do. I mean, how we feel is, bar none, probably the best we felt in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I get outside a lot. I go to Papago Park all the time and just at least walk. Like I climb rocks there. I walk, like I actually walk barefoot. Like I actually did that the other day, and I kind of was upset that I did it because it was when I hurt my neck. And I walked like a good half mile barefoot, and it's rocks. Like we live in Arizona, and it's all rocks. So I walked half a mile, and like I got like a half mile in, and then I was like, I can't do this. And then I had a backpack on, weight in it, and I like my neck was starting to hurt. So I was like, okay. So I put my shoes on, turned back, and my feet were sore for a couple days. But you know what? You gotta ground yourself to the earth sometimes because it feels good to walk barefoot.
Let me just say something about that. I think getting outside more is huge. I mean, it's not like you have to be outside for an hour a day. It's not like you have to be weightlifting or training or doing something for an hour a day. Just find a bunch of things that you like to do and just try and do them as often as you can.
Yeah, like there's like you don't want to like set a limit. Like there's no limit to how much you should be outside. There's no whatever. Just try to do it as much as you can. Like, because the more I'm outside, the better I feel for sure.
Yeah, and well, it's just small steps, man. Like I think people too often, and you know what? Like personal example, I'm very focused on corrective exercise because I often find myself in a situation where someone needs help with their shoulder, help with their knee, help with their hip, something along those lines. So I found myself unintentionally for a while kind of getting away from heavier compound movements. So 6 months kind of not intentionally negating it, but I got back into it again, and me being me, I threw up a couple too many plates on the barbell squatting, and definitely paid the price for a couple days. And because one thing I preach is you want to always keep in mind the next workout you're going to be doing, not the one that you're currently doing. So I set myself up for failure for at least 2 days because I didn't go into it easing it back into it like I preach every single day. So, but I think other than that, I think that kind of touches on everything that we do. I think you'll hopefully be seeing us whip up some steaks here and kind of giving you maybe some juicy steak tips. I swear that steak we ate was pretty.
I do say so myself. Out of the steak. Let me tell you.
There's been too many occasions where we talk about having restaurant style steak, and I do have a friend who came over here and I said those words, and they go, oh yeah, prove it, and I proved it. You were witness.
I do it pretty much every day.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so good at it. Because I do it often.
Repetition.
Yeah.
Repetition. Consistency. Show up.
Like we try to have a structure around it about like kind of what we want to talk about, but it's really hard to like really, really focus on some of these things because we don't want to come off as like telling you what to do. And we're just kind of like sharing our experience, so it's gonna be like all over the place. So we're literally just gonna try our best to convey the information that we've learned,
and hopefully too, like you guys start leaving comments and asking us questions that we can start answering too. Like definitely want to do FAQs, and I want to answer like some of your personal questions towards literally whatever it pertains to health and fitness, lifestyle, like whatever it is. Ask us anything. Like we've definitely got something to share for you and something to provide you to hopefully help out with whatever you may be working on.
And it's not like we have it all figured out either. Like
we're trying to get a community of people that want to do the same and help us figure this stuff out together.
Exactly.
Like this isn't me getting on here and him getting on here and going, you know what, we will be your doctors and we're going to solve all these issues. No. I think we've solved a lot of issues of our own that we feel other people can do the same.
We're not doctors, but I'm going to be a certified personal trainer and maybe a nutritionist, and then I can tell you what to eat.
Right. I mean, I'm not...
Just kidding, bully.
Yeah. Kidding, but not kidding. I'm not telling you. It's a firm suggestion to try.
Well, I mean, like we were talking about in the beginning, do your research and also just think about it. I mean, think about it ancestrally. If our ancestors did it, it's probably not bad for us because we evolved over a long period of time. This is what we became. And over the last 100 years, our lives have changed drastically. Like our current needs are not the same needs that we had back in when we had to hunt our food and all that stuff. So, but like at the same time, think about for all those years we were outside, we were barefoot, we were naked a lot in the sun, and we hunted our food. We ate a lot of red meat, and we ate the organs of animals. I mean, that's kind of common sense, like when you look at the Native Americans, that's common sense. In school, we are taught that Native Americans don't waste any part of the animal, and what do you think that includes? It includes eating the organs. So
it does.
What else do you think they did with them?
I mean, dude, like just to name a few, like vitamin B12, B6, folate, there's niacin, there's so many things, iron, phosphorus. I can sit here all day and talk about nutrients that are in organ meats. Again, do some research yourself just on liver alone. It's one of the most nutrient dense things you could possibly put in your gullet.
And it's easy to find. At least where we live, it's super easy to find.
Super easy.
Frozen, and we even buy a regeneratively raised liver. So it's like the best liver you can find. Excuse me. Regeneratively raised meat is the best thing that you can possibly support, because it's good for the environment. It's actually it's meat that is raised that is good for the environment, and it's the best thing ever.
Well, because they're taken care of. They would be doing what they would naturally be doing.
Exactly.
Which is
going back to our roots. Like, what are the odds?
Right.
Everything that our parents told us is correct. Not everything, but like what I'm saying is the old way, I guess, is usually the best way.
The old school way. I mean, because like honestly,
the very old school way, the oldest school.
Yeah.
The oldest.
Exactly.
School.
Like we're not talking like like 50s to 60s. Your dad's dad, right? No, we mean farther back than that. Because I mean, like I think what's cool too is you look at some of the tribes that are still living these lifestyles, and you see like just how well fit in health wise, like just the current
problems that are extremely prevalent in the Western society are almost non-existent in tribes like the Hadza. Look that up. Look up the Hadza. They're a tribe that still lives as hunter-gatherers
somewhere.
Yeah.
Link here for the Hadza tribe.
Yeah.
No, like they are like beyond the things that we have to deal with. Oh my lord! Like think about just the skin toughness that we were talking about, like running through real sharp branches and stuff, like stuff that would just like tear us up. And
dude, I experienced that this weekend when I was up in Payson, because there's like when you're going through the bushes, you know it's hard to tell which ones have thorns and which ones don't. But the ones that do have thorns, if you're not paying attention, they will fuck you up. They will they will make you bleed.
Yeah.
And these guys run through these like it's fun, and they get like they just get little scratches, tiny little scratches, like like I accidentally scratched myself too hard with my nail. That's what it looks like. And they get stung by bees for a living, pretty much.
Yeah, for the most part.
Because their job is to find food.
It probably tickles at some point.
Yeah.
Well, I think about the way they eat, nose to tail, getting enough calcium and nutrients to support the collagenous tissue, which is probably why, again, even at the what someone would consider, what would it be, third world? Would you consider that necessarily just because of their lifestyles, or how would you consider that?
I mean, me personally, I rank that as like class A lifestyle.
Well, I mean, that's obviously how we classify
that's
it, but
that's how I prefer it.
About 92% of everybody else may consider that they're a little bit that, but that's just about as healthy as you can possibly be. I mean, and that goes back into what we would, ideally like to do. Swing open the back door and grab these bows right here and take them out and go find something to eat, because, I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of want to go hunting before that feeling strikes. It might take you a minute.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Think ahead. But seriously, whatever you guys would like to hear us discuss, let us know. Leave a comment down below. Leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, because I'm sure you did. I mean, you stuck around. You're still here. I appreciate you for that, nonetheless.
Subscribe.
Oh, definitely hit the notification bell, because episode 3, 4, 5, and 6,
don't want to miss it.
No, you don't. It's some real juicy stuff, and I'm just saying, this is the most common Hamann sense podcast you'll find in the whole world.
Yeah.
Transparent, beautiful, elegante, the whole 9 yards.
Tune in for episode 3 to find out if I still have my mustache or not.
And if also I am slightly closer in skin tone as my brother, which...
Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm outside a lot.
Love y'all.